Hi, I'm Philippa McDonald, and welcome to a special series of interviews brought to you by Compass on enduring powers of attorney. Dr. Liz McEntyre, thanks so much for joining On Point. What is the difference between a will, an enduring power of attorney, and an enduring guardian?
That's a really good question, Philippa, and one that I didn't know until just recently myself. So a will is something that you put in place, your wishes for when you pass away, so that your wishes are carried out. Enduring power of attorney and enduring guardianship are two things that you put in place while you're still alive. So the enduring power of attorney covers off on financial and your assets, and the guardianship one covers off on your lifestyle, so health, where you're going to live and things like that.
And this is when you lose capacity.
It's when you lose capacity and you can no longer make decisions for yourself.
Who is the best person that you can talk to about an enduring power of attorney?
The best person that I think you should talk to about is your solicitor. They're the ones that will draw up a will for you, enduring power of attorney and enduring guardianship. So talk to a solicitor. There are solicitors that you can also talk to at the trustee and guardian. Within New South Wales, that's called the New South Wales Trustee and Guardian. So a solicitor there would also be able to help you with any questions that you have.
And what is the cost? Is there anywhere that you can go that won't charge you?
It does cost. Okay, I did look into it, but if you get the suite, what they call the essential three, your will, enduring power of attorney and enduring guardian, it's less. So they package it all together so that it doesn't cost as much as getting them all individually. So yes, there is a cost. I'm not aware of anywhere that you can go to get it free.
But future planning's important, isn't it?
You bet it is, because you want things, you don't want other people making decisions about things that you love and that affect you. You want people that you trust to be able to make those decisions when you no longer can.
Can you revoke an attorney for your enduring power of attorney?
Yes, you can. And that was a big concern that I had too. If I made an enduring power of attorney or an enduring guardianship, was that set in stone? And it wasn't. I found out it wasn't. That I could change that. In actual fact, it was good to review it on an annual basis so that it was up to date with what I wanted.
What ran through your mind when you recently made your own enduring power of attorney?
Well, I haven't yet done that, Philip, because what happened is that when I contacted the solicitor at Trustee and Guardian to make my will or redo my will because things had changed in my life, they asked me about doing an enduring power of attorney and guardianship. And I said, no, I don't need that. And they went, oh, really? And I said, no, I don't need that. And they said, we will send you the information anyway for you to have a look at. And when I started looking at it, I thought, oh, I do need that, because that's about my wishes while I'm still alive, if I no longer can make decisions. So what I'm doing now, or I have done, is I've contacted them and said, when I come down on that day to do my will, I want the enduring power of attorney done and the enduring guardianship.
What's front and centre for you in your enduring power of attorney and enduring guardian? That
I'm looked after well. I'm looked after in a way that I would have looked after myself. So, and that family are involved in my care, rather than someone that I don't know, I've never met, perhaps even a tribunal making a decision about my life. So that's front and centre for me, that I want my family involved in my care when I can no longer make decisions.
If your family say that they will look after you, why do you need an enduring power of attorney or an enduring guardian?
Well, I did ask a few people about that, and they said, my family will care for me, and I said, don't assume that. Don't assume that some members of your family will take on that responsibility. It's best to ask them before, select the appropriate people that you know and trust that would have the capability to do that. It's not an onerous thing, but you still need someone that perhaps will do it to the way that you want it to be done. We've got lots of family. Mob have got lots of family, so choosing the right ones is really important. And you might, choose people say, well, I really just don't want to do that. And you So it's best to check first who you're going to choose and, get their agreement. That's fine, as I did with my children.
Don't take it for granted.
I wouldn't take it for granted that family are going to care for you in the way that you would want.
People might say, I really don't have any big assets like my own home or a lot of savings, so why would I need an enduring power of attorney or a will?
Well, like I said, it's in regards, the will is, yes, okay, you mightn't own your own home or have any big lump sums of money or whatever, but you still do have some things that you might want to leave special for your children, for your grandchildren, and it's best to put it on paper about your wishes instead of leaving that to the family to have to do that. Recently, one of my family members had to do that, and it was a massive job for them because there was no will that was left. So we always say we're going to do these things, so it's best to get on and do it. Enduring power of attorney, I think that's just something, again, around your finances. Yes, you mightn't have much money, but that's something that needs to be done while you're still here, and I can't stress that enough.
Some First Nations people in their 50s or even older receiving lump sum payments for the abuse they've suffered and wage theft. How vulnerable can they be to financial abuse?
Oh, Philippa, look, many Aboriginal people and families have grown up in poverty, not had much. And to receive all of a sudden a lump sum payment of money, which could be in the tens of thousands, it's something that they're just simply not used to. So having protection around that money and how you're going to spend it, how you want to spend it, whether you put it into going on holidays or perhaps want to give it to your family and yourself, it's best to have protections around that because it's just simply something, that big lot of money is simply something that some people have never had.
And how vulnerable can they be when they receive that lump sum amount of money?
I believe very, very vulnerable at times. They can be, if they don't know what bank account it should go into, if they've got people that might, guess be a bit, underhanded, not do the right thing, again, see that lump sum money as being something they might like to have a bit of. So those protections need to be put in place for elders and senior people. That is their right to receive that money and to spend it however they choose.
You've told me some horror stories about what can happen once that money hits the account, that other people feel they're entitled to it, or there are issues around gambling.
Yes, yes, there's been some stories that I'm aware of, and situations that, yes, within my own family, where people feel they see that money, and because we know that gambling's a terrible addiction, and they see that money and they think, well, that's easy money for me to be able to get. Well, again, it's around putting those protections in place for that elder or older person. It's not about denying anybody anything. It's about just making sure that the right person who got that money keeps that money or spends it however they choose to.
If you decide to have an enduring power of attorney or an enduring guardian, is it better to have one person or a number of people to make decisions about money, healthcare, accommodation and so on?
Philippa, what I decided was to have more than one. So I asked both of my children to be my attorney and to be my enduring guardian, because then they can support one another. With decisions, if the time comes and I can't make those decisions, rather than one person doing that on their own. It's also safeguarding in regards to one person not having the monopoly on making the decisions. That mightn't be the right decision. So by having two or even three, then collectively decisions can be made for me when I can no longer make the decisions about my care or my health or where I live.
What advice do you give people about who should be their enduring power of attorney?
Pick somebody that you can trust. Pick somebody that has the time to commit to it. Pick somebody, what do they say? Ask a busy person. Not necessarily. Pick somebody that understands the importance that it is to you to have this in your life.
What advice do you give to people about who should be their enduring power of attorney?
My advice would be to pick someone that you trust, that you know will carry out your wishes, that knows you well enough when the things that you've stipulated in your enduring power of attorney or in your enduring guardian, it will be carried out and fulfilled. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to be family. It could be a friend, it could be, and always, like not always, but take into account of picking someone that's younger. Because if you choose a friend that's the same age, I guess dementia, might set in for that person as well or whatever. So pick someone that's a little bit younger than you, as I have done.
And you chose your children?
I chose my children, yes. I asked them, did they want this responsibility? And they said yes. Now, if they had have said no, I would have chosen other people that were younger than me, yeah.
What are the pitfalls of delaying or not making an enduring power of attorney? What can be the result?
The pitfalls is that someone or some people will make decisions for you, people that you don't know, people that you've never met, people that really, that's just a job for them to do, will make decisions about you that you didn't want. Yes, they might fulfil what's in your will, if you've got a will, but if you don't have the other two, enduring power of attorney, enduring guardian, people will make decisions about your life that you haven't wanted to. Now, I'll give you an example. Probably, I like eating blackfish. I had some blackfish for dinner last night. Now, and in summertime, I'll eat whiting because that's the summer. Now, they're saltwater fish. Okay. If someone I didn't know put a tin of tuna in front of me and said, well, we didn't know that you like those things, that would be just terrible.
How traumatic can it be for a First Nations person to not have someone they trust or know helping them to make decisions once they've lost capacity? What can it mean to have a stranger or a government official looking after your affairs when you're vulnerable?
Well, we all know that Aboriginal people and Torres Islander people have worked really hard to get where we are today. We've gone through lots of traumatic situations. I mean, I won't name them here, but we're all aware. We're all aware of history and we're all aware around truth-telling. We understand that. So for someone, a government agency, to make decisions about Aboriginal people at the end of your life, or if something happens and you're not able to make those decisions, would be absolutely awful. I couldn't think of anything worse. If someone was making decisions that you could not stay on country, you could not attend community gatherings like NAIDOC week events, Elders Olympics, Sorry Day events, etc., that would be absolutely dreadful. It would be like repeating history around government making decisions about our lives when we're quite capable to do that. So that was a huge pitfall if you don't make an enduring power of attorney and enduring guardian.
Well, what would be your message to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who think, enduring power of attorney, I don't need that?
Go and talk to someone. Go and talk to someone to get them to explain it to you, like myself, when it wasn't until I read what it actually meant. Speak to a solicitor, speak to trustee and guardian, speak to, if you've got lawyers in the family, speak to them. Contact Elder Abuse Action Australia, look at the Compass website, talk to people about it. Don't just leave it.
What would you say are the hurdles for many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people not getting an enduring power of attorney?
Well, I think access and understanding and knowledge. I work with many organisations, and I guess I didn't know, and that's an issue. If someone like myself didn't know, then there'd be others that didn't know. And everybody I spoke to, when I asked them what the difference was between a will, enduring power of attorney, and enduring guardian, they said, oh, look, I don't know. And I said, that's okay, because I didn't know either. So having that understanding, and I think we've got mechanisms in place across New South Wales where we've got 121 local Aboriginal land councils, we've got numerous Aboriginal medical services where we could have that information placed there. New South Wales Trustee and Guardian could be working with those organisations. That's a massive, they're the two main where our community go to. And I think that there would be a role there for sure within those organisations, whether Trustee and Guardian have an open day within there or something like that. There's NAIDOC Week where hundreds and hundreds gather. So there's a role there for Trustee and Guardian as well. And the Elders Olympics, just recently I went to the Elders Olympics. There's like nearly almost 400 elders from New South Wales that gathered together. And there was an opportunity for Trustee and Guardian to be there as well. So I think we've got to start talking about it. We've got to get those messages out there that this is something that we need to do. It's not something that we put on the back burner, I'll do that later and later, or even not even know. We need to be aware.
Because the stakes are so high, aren't they?
They are so high. Again, the simple fact of thinking that someone who doesn't know you and hasn't met you and really has no understanding about you, or a tribunal making a decision about your life. No, we can't have that. You can't have that. You need to take control and make sure that you're looked after while you're here and living.
You talked about the opportunity for health justice partnerships. So you could go to the Aboriginal Medical Service and something's worrying you, and then you could maybe see a lawyer.
That's right. So they're trialling within some Aboriginal medical services where there is a lawyer that sits there under a health justice partnership, so a community legal centre sitting inside an Aboriginal medical service. So, I mean, our doctors aren't lawyers, but if there was capacity for that doctor to say, you've got a bit of a legal issue here, if you go over there to that door over there when we're finished and make an appointment with the solicitor, I'm sure they'll be able to help you. I think that would be ideal.